Hey everybody, don't forget to come and join us. We're going to be at the Wisconsin Fishing Expo on Saturday. We have a seminar at 2 p.m. and then we'll be back there on Sunday at 12 p.m. And when we're not doing seminars, we're going to be in the Warrior booth trying to sell some really awesome Warrior boats for Spellman's Marine. So you guys come check us out. Also, don't forget Meg's Custom Rods. Pat's going to be there and I might bounce over there for a while too. So make sure you guys come and join us. I've been guiding basically full-time for over 30 years now, and ice guiding is no doubt probably the most stressful guiding that there is, but there is times, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that you guys and gals don't get a chance to see. And today we're heading up to Sturgeon Bay and we're going to be helping out one of our fellow guides up there and try to get his shanties back up there. You know, it's one of them things that was a misfortune and it's happened to most of us guides. You know, that ice shifts, changes, the wind blows things around. You guys might think this is out of the norm, but a lot of times, you know, guys that have been doing it a long time, it happens. I love yours. Fucking.
We can work out a trade for your Warrior. That sounds even, right?
That does sound good.
Ready to have some fun today, buddy?
When it comes to ice guiding, it can be one of the most rewarding sports that there is, but it can also be one of the most frustrating things because you're dealing with Mother Nature. And anytime you're dealing with Mother Nature, you never know what she's going to throw at you.
Where the breathing is easy, the living is good. Out in the great outdoors.
Larry Smith Outdoors is brought to you by Warrior Boats, Vortex, Tub Hotels, Leroy's Meats, Bartline Barrels, Magic Products, Power Sports Company, Mike's Country Meats, Baronet Blinds, Drexel Building Supply, Eskimo and the MRD Group.
So today our mission is to go and retrieve 7 shanties that got taken out on one of the bays there. What happened is that the ice came around basically and grabbed a chunk of the piece that was in the bay and swung it out, and these shacks obviously went with it. You know, less than 12 hours ago, these shanties were right out in front of us. So what we're going to do is we're going to have some guys head south. We're going to head north and see if we can spot them. I'll tell you something, this ice can definitely do a lot of damage to an airboat. You know, you can only go anywhere from about 10 miles an hour to maybe 12 miles an hour at the very most. You got to remember, we got a lot of gear in these boats. You know what? And that boat is flexing a lot with all that weight on you. You don't want to destroy your equipment. When you're out every day and you're on the ice, you never know what's going to happen. The main thing is to make sure that you're always prepared for the worst, and that's the biggest part about being an ice guide. You know, yeah, there's times where I wish I wouldn't have done this or wish I would have done that, but when you think in your own life how many times that you honestly sit down and think about this, that you've made a few decisions that probably didn't work out like you had planned them to work out. And this is one of them scenarios where, things did not work out with these shanties.
Someone grab an ice auger and start drilling out that corner.
Hey, blocks, Lonnie?
I got a shovel in there.
Okay.
I would get that too. I chopped this all up pretty good.
Is this all? It's a floor right here, right?
Yeah, there's a hole in that middle though. You alright, Alec? Yeah, but I'll take these ice in here in the face. Yeah, sorry. Alright. Should be wearing goggles for this. Alright, I got a big fuck out there. Oh.
You know what? This is the great part about having friends and people that are willing to spend their time and go out of the way and work hard to get the job done. And you know, anytime again you're dealing with Mother Nature, it can be a major challenge. And no doubt today was a challenge getting these shanties out of the ice and getting them back up and getting them back to safe land. You know, having a good crew of guys, which we had today, guys that are very knowledgeable and guys that are not afraid to work really hard. I can tell you something, at least after a couple hours, we were all soaking wet. It was cold out there, and by the end of the day, we were all exhausted. But you know what? We got the job done, and really, that's all that matters. One of the biggest things here is that most of these shanties went down halfway. The great part is that they're all spray foam, so they were very buoyant. But when you look at the inside of these shanties, the middle of the floors are open for fishing. So what happened is when they went down, these ice chunks ended up getting up through the bottom of the floors and obviously filling up. So, you know, I couldn't even tell you there's anywhere from, 1,500 to 2,000 pounds worth of ice inside of these shanties. So the key was to get the beams underneath there, to start lifting them up, and then getting inside once you could get inside the doors and start busting up the ice chunks inside and start shoveling them out to lighten up the weight. So again, having the right crew of guys, because this is a dangerous situation that people can get hurt. Obviously, we got chainsaws. Guys are cutting around the shacks with chainsaws to cut them free. You got guys, next to the open water. You got winches going on here. You got pry bars going. You got an axe. I mean, there's a lot of things happening here. And it's so important that everybody is really watching each other. And because, once you start working that hard, you start getting fatigued after a while, and things can happen. But when you got a crew like we had today, it just absolutely worked out perfect. There was a few glitches getting these shacks out, which we knew that was going to happen. The thing is that none of us went into this thinking that this is going to be a piece of cake to get these shanties out of there. We all knew it was going to be a tough situation, and exactly what it was, But it still was cool to retrieve the shanties, get them all back to dry land, and you know what? We won this battle as far as I'm concerned. I'll tell you what a morning we have had so far. So far, we've got 3 of them out. We got 4 more to go. We're gonna get them all popped out. We got a 4-wheeler coming out with the airboat. We're gonna run them in as far as we can on this good ice here. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull them across with the airboats. We got probably about a 50, 60 yard stretch of open water that we're gonna pull across with the airboats, and then back onto some more good ice. But I'll tell you, it's a lot of work, but the cool part is, again, is that when you're in this business, you gotta know how to do all this stuff yourself. And I'll tell you what, Lonnie, no doubt, is an expert at getting these things in and out. I thought I was good at, ice retrieval. Boy, I'll tell you, these guys have got it dialed. Everybody here, this whole crew has been working super hard. We've got guides from all the way across over up towards the Mississippi. You know what? It's all about teamwork and getting people together and getting things done. Don't sit on your couch all the time and complain about what other people are doing. Go out and make a difference.
Well, we're sitting here popping these shacks out, and we figured might as well try and catch a whitefish quick. We're just jigging a wax one here. We're just off a reef anyway, and even when the shacks blow away, they're still on top of whitefish. So we're gonna see if we can get a couple here and hopefully get a little action.
Yes, sir. Never caught whitefish before, but you know what? Sounds like a good time to me.
When you look inside these shanties, there's anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 pounds worth of ice and water in there. So it's very important to be able to try to get some of this stuff out of there so we can get these shacks all the way up and out. But it is a process because you got to remember now they're froze in. So we're cutting around the edges with the chainsaws, and then we're going back in there with the chisels and pry bars and trying to get these shacks popped up far enough. This shack here still got about 1,000 pounds worth of ice in it. We're gonna definitely have to take a little bit of it out of there to get this thing moving. Boy, I'll tell you what, I don't know if I'd rather ride a Bronco or pull that shack across that chunk ice on that four-wheeler. Here's a cool thing. The guy on the four-wheeler is another guide, which is competition for Lonnie up there, Zach. You know, it was awful cool for him to spend his time and his efforts to come along and help us to get these shanties out. Look at all the weight in this shanty right now. You can see it, the corner. We can't get at the door, but look at the corner. That thing is just full of ice. You know, the cool part is that all it's gonna take to get these shacks back in operation is a few screws, a little bit more tin, and a couple of 2x4s. So what we did is we basically drilled some holes down and put a T-bar down and then hooked a chain to that and then hooked that to the winch, which works out good because you need to have something solid so you can use that winch to be able to get these shacks up. Again, when you start thinking about the amount of weight that is inside of these shanties because of all the ice chunks and the water, and you got to remember now these things have been in the water for probably 4 or 5 days, so there's a lot of water in through the walls too. So you know, having good equipment and knowing how to use it is definitely key. So this one's been giving us a lot of problems as far as trying to get this thing out of the hole right there. So Adam brought his airboat around and basically pushed it right up and out of that hole that it was in. So again, just using a little bit of ingenuity and getting things done. Okay, we're down to, we got 4 out and 3 more to go, you guys. You know, the key is we got to get this done before it gets dark, because I definitely do not want to be out here in the dark. We got way too much equipment, too many people, too many things can happen. So we are working hard to try to get these last couple of shanties out of the ice here. Fuck, I can't even budge. There you go. Oh, there we go. Watch it, Drew. Yeah, watch your. One left to go. You know, if we didn't have these airboats out here, there is no way that I think we would have got these shanties out and got to them. You know, that's kind of the cool part about having an ice guiding business is that's one thing you need to be prepared with. I think you're going to see a lot more of this happening with the airboats just because we're into a trend where we're getting a lot of mild winters. And it's just a very, very crucial tool to have is having an airboat. I guide pretty much over 300 days a year, and the people that I bring into my boat aren't just customers and friends, they're actually family. And I always try to keep these people as comfortable as I can and safe, and I cannot think of a better product than a Warrior boat. Why is their customer service so good? Because they know that you're part of their family. Come join the Warrior family. It took a little longer than I expected. I had my airboat loaded down pretty heavy, and when I came across the ice and went into the water, I was actually taking on a little bit of water, and I had her peg going in, and my motor stalled out. And I'll tell you something, I didn't panic, but I was definitely a little nervous. What happened is that when we stopped and the airboat wouldn't start up again, so I started looking at everything, and what happened is that from going across all that chunk ice, one of the screws on my distributor cap came off and actually moved my distributor, so obviously I wasn't getting spark. It got water up inside of it and got wet, so I dried that off right away, and you can just see me here now how I'm shaking. What happened is we came off of that chunk ice, and you don't know how much damage was done to the boat. Thank goodness there wasn't any, but Adam was in front of me, and I told him to keep watching for me, and he must have slipped his mind a little bit. But so I called him about 6 times right in a row to try to make sure that he knew that I was stalled out and I was dead in the water. The cool part is that I was prepared in this situation too, because I have 2 nebulises on my boat here. So if the boat would have started going down, we would have deployed the nebulises and obviously been able to at least stay out of the water, which is key, until obviously Adam or Diehard would have came and rescued us. So again, you know, when you're thinking about, you know, doing all the things that we do, you need to be prepared and always be prepared for the worst. Hey, I want to thank everybody for the hard work that they put into today and getting this job done. Everybody worked hard right up till the boats were all put back on the trailers, which is awesome. It's called teamwork. People that care about each other, care about the outdoors. It's interesting the amount of comments that we got when we did this situation out here, when we did this ice retrieval. You know something? I just kind of laugh about what other people say and what they think when they really don't know the whole real scenario is. You know, it's one of them kind of things where every day you got to be thankful to God for the safety that He gives you, and thankful for the energy He gives you, and it just works out really good. You know, Lonnie, I'll tell you, I've done a lot of interesting things in my life, and you know, basically guiding full time for over 30 years now. You know, the cool kind of part is about today, and I wanted to be involved with this, is obviously to help you out is one thing, but the other part is to learn. And I learned actually quite a few little tricks for the trade. I pulled a number of shanties off of Winnebago that have gone through myself. The thing that happened with the shacks is that, you know, you guys put them shacks out there, there was 10 inches of ice. Dude, I drive my pickup truck on 10 inches of ice. So let's talk about that, and let's really kind of talk about really the way this whole day went and what you thought of it.
just a freak thing happened. A piece busted out, it hinged out. And what happened is it kind of got along Riley's point and went out, and there was a lot of video on it. And then what happened is it exposed itself in the wind, and the wind came in and just rolled in, and it busted the ice up. Big chunks rolled under the shacks, kind of supported the shacks. They sank halfway down. Well, they rolled almost all the way down to Big Rock and went out.
Which is how far?
Maybe 2 miles.
Okay.
Then they sat yesterday, and by the time I could get the help on Sunday to come, the crew to come help me, we got some airboats. We got Adam and we got Die Hard here from the Mississippi came up with their airboats to give us a hand. So this situation, no one got rescued, but we put together a good team of guys. We went and got the shacks. We got them all out, and I couldn't be more pleased. I just thank these guys a lot, and I'm really appreciative for all their help. And it's just amazing for, the few negative comments there are. There's 10 people that have reached out to me above and beyond the negative comments that want to help.
Right.
Hey, it could have happened to anybody. Guide saying, I would have guided on what you had. That was 10 inches of ice, and people say it wasn't, but it was, and you guys all seen it. So there's a lot of competition, right. But I mean,
everybody puts
the guys
that
that came out of the woodwork that wanted to help. I mean, years ago, I might have wanted to scruff them up a little bit, but or they talked smart to me at somewhere, and but at the end of the day, everyone came out, and and for these guys to come up from the Mississippi River to help us with their airboats, because we don't got a ton of airboats around here, So.
Right, don't need them normally.
Yeah. But I'm definitely going to be thinking about getting an airboat now.
Hey everybody, what an amazing day it was. I learned a lot of things about rescuing ice shanties that I thought I knew pretty much everything, but it's cool when you can work with somebody else that has so much knowledge in the same thing that you have passion for and do, and I learned just an absolutely ton of stuff. Hey, as you could tell, if you guys take a look at everybody that's standing around us, we are all whooped. It's been a long time since I've exhilarated that much energy to try to do something, and I'll tell you, I can really feel it for sure. But the great part is, mission accomplished, and that's really what it's all about. Want to thank all the guys that helped us out today. Everybody gave 100% of what they had to get this done, and we definitely got it done. Hey, like we do each and every week, no doubt we want to thank all of our military men and women for the great service that they have given this country and continue to give this country, because without them, we know we wouldn't have the great things that we have. Also want to thank all of our firefighters and paramedics, and no doubt all of our law enforcement agents for the great service that they give us. And don't forget, the most important thing is, it is a great day to be alive, and we will see you guys and gals again next week, and thanks for joining us.